From the global news network of Breitbart.com, this is Breitbart News Daily with your host, Mike Slater.
Tommy Tuberville is the senator from Alabama and hoping to be the governor of Alabama here soon. Senator, how are you?
Good morning, Mike. I'm doing pretty good. How's your day going?
Great to talk to you. That's going real good. I wanted to talk to you like a week or so ago, Senator, about the Space Force announcement moving to Alabama and this great news. And I'd love to celebrate that. But we got to meet the moment where we are right now, Senator, what you're walking into right now. We're talking about the murder on the Charlotte train. I'm trying to strike the root of it, of this problem. You, alas, are in the Senate. What can be done politically with this problem?
Well, first of all, we could recognize it. No politician wants to really get involved in this because they're afraid they'll lose a vote. But this is one of the most important things going on in our country right now. We've got debt problems. We've got all kinds of economy problems. But we got a problem in society that's out of control. I coached for 35 years. I saw mental health issues growing. I saw kids from having nobody on the team doing retinol or any of these attention deficit drugs to over half to three-quarters of them doing it. Parents and doctors are issuing drugs like candy. So we got a mental health problem. We've got a law enforcement problem in terms of turning them loose, letting them do their job. I'm part of the Deep Clean Act, which says give the police the authority to do their job, get out of their dang way. And then, of course, we've got radical judges. So there's a plethora of things that are causing this, and a lot of it is caused by politicians, especially the Democrats.
How much have you seen over your many years of coaching when you go on recruiting visits? Lack of dads. Have you seen that change in your long career?
Oh, it's worse and worse. Minorities are that's where they're suffering. And the problem is we're enabling that up here in Washington, D.C. by paying these moms to say, listen, the more kids you have, the more money you get. And 75% of minorities do not have fathers in the homes, and it's getting worse. Why would you stay at home if you're allowed to go out and do whatever you want to do, and then the federal government's going to send a check? We've got to control this, and we want to take care of moms, we want to take care of kids, but we're also enabling these dads to go out, not do anything, get a check, lay on the couch, and but it's not just minorities; it's also a lot of other people across the country of all races. And again, this is a problem that politicians have to address and say it's time to shut the spigot off of money going out the door to enable people to do whatever they want to do other than do what's right for themselves and the country.
You may have a unique perspective on this one. A couple weeks ago, we had a teacher call in, who teaches in a ghetto school. And he said one of the main problems is no kid there wants or feels the need that they need to learn anything or learn how to read because they're either going to rap or ball their way out. They're gonna be on the football team and whatever. And now with NIL, like it used to be like, oh, like you're never going to make the pros, man. Like get it right. And now it's like, well, I don't need to make the pros. I can still make a lot of money playing for, college ball. And now it's leaking down even in high school. We're so I wonder if that further distorts any incentive for what is prudent for people growing up in the ghetto now that there's more and more money in this other way that's not as wise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And what does the NIL take away? It takes away education. It says don't worry about anything other than being able to ball or whatever. Now, you still have a very small part of the percentage of athletes that even don't get NIL money, whether it's high school or college or pro. So what does NIL do? It discourages going to class, going to school, yes, getting a degree. You look at the statistics now. When I was coaching just, 7, 8 years ago, you had to have a grade point average and a certain amount of hours in your major field each year as a freshman, a sophomore. You had to be on the way to getting a degree. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. So what's happening now is we're discouraging education over hey, you can go out there and make a few bucks first few years, and then what's going to happen? We're looking at a generation of people that are not educated, that have no clue of how to do anything. And you go back to one other thing. I will say this: half the kids in this country can't read over the sixth grade reading level. If you can't read, you can't learn, and then if you can't learn, you can't. It's going to be hard to get a job that's decent to make a living.
When's the Alabama governor's race? Is it coming up here in 26?
Yeah. It's a year from this November. Same as everybody else. Yeah.
Okay. So you win this race, and then you're now the governor, and the president says, "All right, I have all these federal resources available to you to clean up Birmingham or whatever city. What do you do with it?
Right.
How do you use the federal government to fix our cities? Because I'm sick, Senator, if I may, of saying, oh, well, we have such a great state. Well, just don't go to, you can't go to this city. Or if you go to the city, don't go to that part of town. That's a danger. It's like, no. This is America. It's all America. It's all our city. It's all our state. I'm not giving up anymore to just be like, I'm not writing off any more cities in our country anymore. So what can you do as governor?
You're exactly right. And it's not just in blue states or blue cities. It's red states with blue mayors, to be honest with you. If you go back and look at the stats, this is what's happening. Nobody wants to have rule of law. They want to, I don't know where the money goes. They don't use it for law enforcement. Defund the police, stupidest thing ever in the history of our country that was even talked about. But no, governor of Alabama, I will immediately go to each city, blue or red, mayor. It doesn't make any difference. What do you need? Tell me about your judges. Are they putting people in jail? Are they turning them loose? Do you need more police cars? Do you need more policemen? Do you need more training? That doesn't work. We're calling out the feds. The National Guard's coming out, and we're going to take control. You can't, I don't care how rich you are, how many kids, a great family, the job you have. If you do not have safe neighborhoods, you have nothing. I mean, that's what this country is about. Number one is freedom, being able to do what you want. But President Trump is exactly right. But D.C. is, most people well know, it's been out of control since I've been here 5 years. But it's not the only one. And look at these mayors fighting President Trump. All these politicians fighting President Trump. We can control it. We'll control your damn city then. Quit putting people in harm's way. That little girl getting killed the other night on that train, absolutely disastrous. We had one in Auburn this past week that was killed. A professor killed walking her dog. Was stabbed several times. Had her car stolen by somebody that's been in jail several times. They already caught him. It's absolutely disgraceful what this country's turned into.
So if you're governor, so let's take this guy in Charlotte, right? He was arrested 6 times, but they were all like relatively small. And I don't find any degenerate behavior to be small, right? But it's not like he murdered someone a bunch of times. So what are you going to do? You're going to, on the 6th time, you put him in jail forever, for life? What's your solution, governor?
Yeah. Well, you've got to have a mandatory sentence after the first time. If somebody goes in the second time, now I'm not talking about speeding or shoplifting, something like that, but I'm talking about some kind of sexual crime, something higher than a misdemeanor. You've got 6 months to a year, and then you have to have people in these prisons that actually work with these prisoners. Now, there's a difference between murderers and sexual predators and that. Like, you're never going. I mean, that's over. They're mentally, something's wrong with them. But when it comes to stealing or some kind of juvenile offense, you've got to try to help them. And again, we're building 2 prisons right now in Alabama. People hate to build prisons. They hate to build them because the taxpayers say that you're wasting our tax money, but it's got to be done. But then I've told the people of Alabama this: listen, we're building 2 new ones. If I got to build 2 more, we'll build them because we're going to fill them up. We're not going to allow lawlessness on the streets. It's not going to happen. And we got to put our foot down sooner or later, and it better be sooner than later, because we are losing control. We're losing police right and left. Would you do it? Would you get out there with a badge on your chest and a uniform on, knowing that these crazies are out there? It's absolutely insane what's going on.
Now, you arrest people and they're back on the street before your shift's over.
Right.
What So I love the idea of building more prisons. So I think we told the story the other day. I know I've told it before. I was in California in 2011 when the Supreme Court case came down that said the prisons are overcrowded in California. And the Supreme Court, 5-4, right? It was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It was a very different court 13 years ago, 14 years ago. They said you have to release 50,000 prisoners. And that led to prison realignment. That led to Prop 47. That led to you can steal up to $950 worth of stuff. That turned felonies into misdemeanors to try to decrease the prison population. You're suggesting we increase the prison population, Senator.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you can't turn them out on the street. Look what happened during COVID, especially in California and some of these other blue states. They looked for that opportunity to say, we've got to do it for the sake of all prisoners. We've got to just open the doors and let them out. And look what's going on. That really enhanced what's going on right now. And again, the homelessness, the drug addiction, the selling of drugs. All the COVID was a disaster. Of course, it was a big, big lie. Now there was COVID, but there was a lot of things from the federal government and the health agencies that enhanced what was going on. But it allowed people, goofballs like Newsom, to say, "Listen, okay, we can open up the gates now and let them all go out." Because we got a reason to do it. There's never a reason to let people out of jail until they've served their time and try to rehabilitate them somehow. And I know it's hard to do that, but you got to try. You got to do something. You got to have a workforce development group in that prison to try to help, especially the younger kids, to start using their hands. But because right now they look around going, "Hey, the best way to make money is stand on the street corner and make $1,000 a week selling drugs."
This Dabney guy who murdered the Auburn professor just the other day.
Yeah.
Where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong for him? At what age in his life do you think he was put on the wrong path?
I haven't looked at his background, but I would probably say it started with his family life. There's no future for a lot of these kids in family life. Again, as I said earlier, I coached for 35 years. When I was head coach, I was a father to most of these kids that they'd never had. But they looked up to, most kids in this country look up to authority. They want authority. They want you to tell them, but as long as you can help them. And as a coach, you could help them. You can show them the right way. You can show them, hey, to be able to play sports, you got to do this on the side. You got to be on time. You got to work with other people. If you try to be a lone ranger and try to do it on your own, you're not going to make it. And the two things that's helped this country survive 250 years, and I've told people this, is sports from all ages and the military. Now, look at what we tried to do with the military during Biden. Transgenders, DEI, woke, non-merit-based promotions. We tried to ruin it. And thank goodness we've got Hexeth and President Trump running the show now. We'll get it back on track. Well, the same thing in sports now. Transgenders in sports, all these silly things of these kids making millions of dollars. Now, listen, I'm for college kids making money if they can, but they did it wrong. They did it. This judge in California says you can make money on your name, image, and likeness. Now, all these coaches, which is fine, they took advantage of a loophole there. Okay, we're going to go out and recruit with money. Well, that's not what it was meant to. It was meant that you go sign them on a scholarship, you come, and then you earn money on your name of how you participated and how you performed. But it's gotten out of control. I've worked with President Trump. Hopefully in the future we can have something to help this NIL deal, but it's another way to destroy the sanctity of our country. And again, as I said, military and sports were two of the things that have saved our country from disaster for the last 250 years.
Well, there are two things that are merit-based and merit-based only, and now they're not.
Right.
They haven't been. Coach, what did you provide for the young men who were in your programs that they did not have in their life?
Authority, somebody that would tell them, okay, structure of this is what we're doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're all going to do it the same way. We're going to be up at 5 o'clock. We're going to be in the weight room at 5:30. We're going to work from 5:30 as groups. You're going to perform the way you're supposed to perform. You're going to be pushed to the limit. After that, we all go to breakfast. Then you go to class. Then you have study halls. Then you have tutors. Then you go to practice in the afternoon. You watch film on time. If you're late, you will be up at 4 a.m. the next morning carrying 5-pound bricks up the stadium steps. it is all by design of discipline, but kids love that authority. They love to be told what to do so they can understand how everybody does it together. And team sports are very essential in this country, where you learn how to win together and you learn how to lose together. And again, now it's become more of an individual sport in football and basketball because of the money.
Yep. Last question for you, Coach. What was the proudest that you have been of a graduate as a man, as you saw him become a man and a father and a husband?
I had this one kid come in, and we always looked at him and we tested them in reading, writing, math, history. We didn't want to put them in a class where once they got to higher ed, if they failed, it'd be very, very hard to keep their grades up. Well, this kid couldn't read past the second grade reading level. And so we spent money in tutors, and we taught him to read. I never thought he would make it past his freshman year. The kid graduated. He graduated with very high grades because he learned to read. And I asked him one day, I says, what was the most exciting part of you learning to read? He said, Coach, I could go to a restaurant and order what I wanted instead of a hamburger and French fries. I was so embarrassed I couldn't read that I had a stigma about being around other people. And that's it really hits you when you hear stories like that of very things that we take for granted, that kids that don't have opportunities, that were neglected, have that chance to survive in a world of competition.
Yeah. It's a perfect example how that young man was never free. His ignorance made him a slave, and he was never a free person. Right. And then when he learned how to read, he was actually free. He could free to order whatever he wanted at a restaurant. Coach, we got to go. Another day, we'll talk